Direct Connection is made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities and is made possible by the generous support of our members. Thank you. Live from Maryland Public Television, this is Direct Connection with Jeff Salkin.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in for Direct Connection. Coming up tonight, we connect with experts in mental health for a look at what services are available. But first tonight, just over a month to go before the tax deadline. Tonight, we have answers to your tax questions. Joining us is Rob Bader, Director of Tax Operations for the Baltimore Cash Campaign. Rob, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
You do thousands of returns, not personally.
No, I don't personally do that many, yeah.
For who? Who's eligible for your service?
We do free tax returns for people's income are under $54,000, and it can be anyone who needs a U.S. tax return. So anybody in Maryland, or we're located in Baltimore, but it can be anybody throughout Maryland who needs a return done.
9,000 plus returns last year?
Correct. So we have sites, we've 17 sites around the city, and we're a coalition of different organizations that have come together to do this. Some of them are run by us, and others are different nonprofits, universities, city agencies that all work together to do this.
What are the top issues for the folks that you serve?
First of all, they just always want to come in and get the refund, so they're always looking for the large refund. And the reason we came into being was to get the earned income tax credit for families who are eligible to do so, which can be over $6,000 in credits that the government gives you. It's not just a reduction in taxes or anything like that. It's actually money the government can give you.
Right, and they don't give it to you unless you file the return.
You have to file, yes. That's very important. I've seen different data, but it looks like it could be between $25 million and $50 million in refunds that people in the Baltimore City area are not getting through the earned income tax credit because they don't file. So it's very important to file your tax return.
What's new for the 2015 return that you're preparing now for people? One thing is the health insurance mandate. The penalty if you don't have health insurance has gone up.
Correct, yeah. So in some ways, nothing has really changed to the tax law. It's just the amounts have changed. So, and especially with the Affordable Care Act. So the penalty was $95 last year. Now it's $325. It's going to go up again next year to $600, and I think I forget. It's just over $600 next year.
And it's a meaningful number for the folks you serve.
Correct. So one thing to know, though, if you come into a tax site or you're doing your own taxes and you did not have insurance last year, you may be subject to health insurance last year. You may be subject to that penalty. But just be aware that there are many exceptions to that. So make sure you pay attention to those exceptions. If you go to your preparer, make sure you ask them about that as well.
Now, a lot of people get a form in the mail saying that you had health insurance.
Correct.
That's something people need to bring with them, or how does that system work?
It's helpful. So first of all, there's one form called a 1095A. So if you get it through the marketplace, if you got your insurance through the marketplace, meaning basically the government pays for part of your insurance. If you get it through the marketplace, then you need to bring that 1095A in, and otherwise your preparer can't file your return. The other forms, the 1095B and C, you can bring with you, and it's helpful, but if you don't have it, they can still file the return.
How many people do you see actually paying that penalty?
Not that many. The clients we work with, because our incomes are averages around $20,000 a year, there are exceptions that we're able to file. So not many of our clients have to pay that.
Right.
If you make more income, you're more likely to have to pay the individual shared responsibility payment.
What are your thoughts on one of the things that is somewhat new this year is the amount of advertising for tax preparation sites or software, especially the smartphone-based services, where you can take a picture of your W-2 with your phone,
right,
and it fills in the numbers, which looks really cool. How do you feel about those, in terms of reliability and so forth?
Well, first of all, I can say the IRS has done studies on this, and I can't give you the data right now, but they have said that filing a return on your own, you're more likely to get an accurate return than if you go to a paid preparer. So, as long as
Say that again?
They have actually said if you file your return on your own, just in general, you're more likely to get a return that's accurate than going to a paid preparer. At least the data shows that. So, So anytime you go, you're looking very surprised, but it's
that's remarkable.
Yeah. So anyways, it depends on your preparer and what have you. So the first thing is, it's always nice to go to prepare because a good one, because they're going to find a lot of things for you and make sure your return's accurate. But if you go to, and there's ways to find good preparers. First of all, if you go to one, make sure you look at your return that's prepared, and make sure they didn't add money into like your business income. So a lot of times they'll make up business income just so you get a larger refund. There's some different things they can do with that, or add a dependent on the return. So obviously you can't do that.
So that's something that an unscrupulous preparer
correct.
would do,
right?
To get somebody a bigger refund, and we've seen the Maryland Comptroller cracking down on preparers for doing things just like that.
That's right. Yeah, so there's been a lot of fraud in the industry and what have you, but there are some great preparers out there as well. So just make sure you do what you can to find a good preparer. Yeah,
and it's important to remember, no matter who prepared it, when you sign the thing,
right,
with a pen or electronically, it's on you.
Yeah, and make sure it has the preparer's name at the bottom of the return.
Right.
As well. And the other thing you can do, you can look at the Department of Labor Licensing and Regulation. Dollar has a state tax preparer board. And anyone who's registered on there is a little bit more legitimate than someone who's not registered with the state. So
let's grab a phone call. Baltimore City, this is Tom. Tom, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
I know the IRA or the government allows me to take a $6,500 deduction in an IRA. It seems like a no-brainer, and I'm just wondering what your guest feels about that.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Great. Yeah, there's two types of IRAs. There's the traditional IRA and the Roth IRA. So if you take a traditional IRA, you can deduct the amount of if you put into $6,500, many people it's $5,500 the limit, but if you put that money in, it's a reduction in your income. You also may get the retirement savings contribution credit if your income is within the right range. So, there's two reasons to file to get an IRA. It's very helpful on your return.
Yeah, and then the other good news there is that while everything we're looking at for your 2015 taxes happened in 2015, you can still do the IRA now.
Through April 15th, that's right. Well, through, I believe it's, let me say April 15th.
Maybe the 18th this year.
Yeah, the last day of filing is April 18th, but yeah, I'm not sure about if you have to get it before the 15th
question.
or not. Yeah.
All right, Baltimore City, this is Jane. Jane, thank you for the call. Go ahead.
My question is, if you're retired and your income is less than $10,000, should I file an income tax, and can I get the tax credit?
Thank you very much. I mean, to get the credit.
Which credit? That's the.
No, she's gone.
Okay, so.
But for the credit you were talking about, the earned income credit, you got to file.
Correct. Yeah, you have to file to get the earned income credit, and a lot of people do come to us and they say, I don't know if I need to file, but it is good to go to a tax practitioner, or you can come to one of our sites. You can call 410-234-8008 and make an appointment, or go to MeMoreFreeTaxes.org and get an appointment, and we can look at your return and see if you need to file. Sometimes you may not be required to file, but it's still helpful to do that. Like you may have withholdings that you get back, or you may get a credit like the earned income credit. If you're just on retirement, you're not going to get the earned income credit, but there may be something else that may be helpful.
Baltimore City, Stuart on the line. Stuart, thanks for the call. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm wondering if I'm on SSI and I only make $14,000 a year. By these forms, it says I only make half, and it don't make enough to file. Do I have to file?
Stuart, that's your only income?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks very much.
First of all, Social Security can be a little confusing. So there are different types of Social Security. There's SSI, which is just SSI, and I think that's where people make about $730 or so a month. You don't have to file that at all, and you can't. In fact, you won't even get a form from Social Security, tax form from Social Security. If you get SSDI or retirement plans or any of the other types of Social Security, it's helpful to include it if you have other income, but sometimes it's not taxable and sometimes it is. But you may or may not have to file that return. Before
we run out of time, how do people find you or similar groups in other parts of the state?
So you can go to our website again, BeMoreFreeTaxes.org. Also the IRS, if you go to irs.gov and type in VITA, V-I-T-A, you'll find a list of sites around the country.
Very good. Rob Bader, the Baltimore Cash Campaign, thanks for your time.
Great, thank you.
Appreciate it. Just ahead tonight, our health segment and the latest on treating mental illness. We'll be right back.
tonight on MPT. It's the concert that started it all. The Three Tenors. Conducted by Zubin Mehta, it's a classic performance that began a worldwide sensation. Carreras, Domingo, Pavarotti in concert. Tonight at 8 on MPT.
My Music brings back the sound of the 60s. Join your hosts, Davy Jones and Peter Noon, for this all-new PBS special.
Tonight at 10 on MPT.
Saddle up for the next Maryland Farm and Harvest.
You'd be surprised how many close finishes there are in the race.
And fresh produce is up for bid.
Welcome to the Loveville Produce Auction.
It's all right here on the next Maryland Farm and Harvest.
Tuesday night at 7 on MPT.
Tonight on MPT2.
Celtic Thunder presents Legacy, a brand new live show exploring their musical journey to date. Legacy features great new showstoppers and fan favorites from traditional and contemporary Celtic music, featuring singers Keith, Ryan, Colin, Emmett, and Neil, with special guest Damian McGinty. Join us for Celtic Thunder Legacy.
Tonight at 8 on MPT2.
In the studio now for this week's Your Health segment, Dwight Holmes, Director of Psychiatric Services at the University of Maryland's Baltimore-Washington Medical Center, and Kurt Haspert, Addiction Medicine Nurse Practitioner at the University of Maryland, Baltimore-Washington Medical Center. Gentlemen, thanks to both of you for being with us.
Thank you.
We talk about mental illness. The numbers are remarkable. 18% of the adult population, and still it may be underdiagnosed.
There is a hesitance sometimes for folks to want to seek treatment. There are still issues about stigma that are a concern. And I guess one of the things that I want to be able to say is that this is a health problem. It's not a moral problem. It's not a question of whether you've been right or wrong. The brain is part of the body. All parts of the body suffer disease, illness, and the brain's no exception. So, talking to your provider, talking to the doctor, getting some help is the best way to getting back on track with your health.
And the other point is that, like other conditions, these conditions are treatable. You can help people.
You sure can. I think the most important thing is accurate screening. That's usually done in a primary care office. And recognition from family members when they see someone who may have, not completing tasks that they used to be able to complete easily, not participating in activities that you used to find fun, loss of sleep, loss of appetite, things like that, to prompt someone to come in and be screened and be treated.
When somebody gets to that point and is potentially handed a diagnosis, how is that greeted? Is that something that they fear? They don't want that diagnosis, or is it something that gives them a sense of relief that they know what the problem is?
Well, I think most of what doctors tell us, other than when you've got a clean bill of health, is something that you don't really want to hear about. You don't want to hear about the high blood pressure or the diabetes or the high cholesterol and stuff. So this is another issue that you may not want to hear it, but you're better off to know what it is so that you can develop a treatment plan and decide, okay, which way do I want to go? Because the treatment plan for a mood disorder is going to be somewhat different than whether or not someone's suffering a thought disorder. So when I say thought disorder, I'm talking about someone who may have like a schizophrenia or other psychotic disorders. Oftentimes patients who are experiencing that are quite wrapped up in what they're thinking, And it's, as Kurt said, it's the people around you who are saying, hey, there's something up and needs to be attended to. Most mood disorders, particularly the depressions, is something that we tend to recognize and notice that something's not right, we don't feel good, we want to get better. So it's an important piece to hear from your family and the people that you care about, as well as recognizing that for yourself and asking for the help.
Let me remind our viewers, if you have a question about mental health treatment and fighting the stigma of mental health disease, give us a call. We'll have the number up on the screen. You know, the diagnosis of it is a little different than some other conditions in that there's no blood test.
Correct.
It's not necessarily black and white.
So typically with there's a series of questions that are going to be asked, and those are more probing questions with regard to what Kurt was saying in terms of, are you noticing your energy dropping? Are you having difficulty with your sleep? In some instances, sleep may drop, where you have less sleep, and where it may increase, changes in your appetite. What have you been noticing about your mood? Loss of interest, isolating from people. Trouble concentrating, those kinds of things, and those are where the questions are at. And then there's questions that are going to be asked about whether or not you have thoughts of suicide, whether you've been thinking about whether or not you just would be better off dead, or are you putting together some ideas about how you might do it, where you would do it, when you would do it, contingency plans, you know, making sure that you're found versus not being found. Questions that are geared towards that kind of an assessment helps the investigator to better understand the severity of the illness and what course of treatment to take. Let's grab a phone call. Anne Arundel County, this is David. David, thanks for the call. Go ahead.
Hi, this is David, and I'm calling about, you know, we're recognizing these things with mental health problems, but I live in Anne Arundel County, for instance, and I've had some acquaintances and even relatives have had problems with mental health issues, and the immediate care and even the short-term care is terrible as far as treating it. It's, I mean, like a physical disease, a mental disease is also a condition. Usually they, you know, like Anne Arundel County, they'll take you to Anne Arundel Medical Center. You'll be held there until they ship you off to somewhere like Shepherd Pratt or maybe somewhere Shady Grove in Montgomery County. There's really a lack of any facilities to address the immediate problems.
David, thank you very much for the phone call. Let me get an answer to the question about access to care.
I think access to care is one of the biggest issues that we have, not only in Maryland, but in the United States. Unfortunately, in this part of the world, in central Maryland, we have fewer psychiatric beds than some other industrialized countries have. The recent community needs assessment that was done by the Healthy Anne Arundel Coalition said that there's about 700 patients to one psychiatrist in Anne Arundel County and about 500 to one in the state of Maryland, and that's not a good thing. When you have someone that's in crisis, we can do stabilization, but this is a chronic disease that needs treatment, not just in a short-term phase, but in the long-term phase also.
Given the resources, given the community concern and somebody's individual situation, what can you do to help them? What do you recommend in terms of getting them into a good situation?
Well, the best thing is to first make your needs known, whether it's starting with your family or talking to your primary care doctor and asking the questions and making inquiry. Make yourself available to get the help is first and foremost. A number of conditions that we face as human beings, dealing with stress, dealing with problems, and those problems can sometimes become crisis, is asking for it, and sometimes talk therapy is sufficient. Being able to just kind of have somebody who listens and who may give you suggestions about things you can do to kind of change the way you think, so that you change the way you feel, so that you make a change in your behavior and how you handle things. In other instances, the talk therapy is combined with medication. And the combination of the two helps to stabilize the crisis and get you to the point where you can do the talk therapy for the problem. So just doing the medications can be helpful for some patients, and maybe the more severe conditions, that's a primary thing, because you got to get the biology of the brain to settle down so that you can get the psychological part discussed in talk therapy.
Very good. Dwight Holmes and Kurt Haspert, the University of Maryland, Baltimore, Washington Medical Center. Gentlemen, we appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us for Direct Connection. We're back Thursday with Your Money in Business. For all of us at MPT, thanks for watching and have a good night.
Your health segments are a co-production of Maryland Public Television and the University of Maryland Medical System.
This program was made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities.